Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to introduce Wes. He's going to relate to something that you can have a topic you can all relate to very well. Wes is here to tell us a little bit about our credit cards. Thanks, Wes.
Thank you, Linda. Credit cards. Most of us here have these. We use them constantly, daily. A lot of people advise us not to use credit cards because of interest rates. You're charged. With the credit cards, you can pay them off, immediately to avoid such charges. But my question is, can credit cards be beneficial? I want to share an experience I had with you guys, and this answers my can credit cards be beneficial question. My wife had booked a trip for us all to Mexico, and she ended up booking the trip through a travel agency in Toronto, which in turn booked the trip through Conquest Vacations. And I'd like to kind of start this off at the airport leaving Calgary. The flight itself, horrific. Turbulence the whole way. It was crazy. Uncomfortable the whole trip. The flight attendants were constantly running up to the front of the plane, strapping on the seat belts and closing the curtains. So just the worst flight I've had. And, when we did finally get into Cancun, just before landing, TVs start flickering, the power to the lights is actually lost, and you can hear the surge in the plane. We made it. Everybody got off the plane, and high fives around the plane that we were all there finally, and we did it. Now, from this point, I guess we get to our resort, the Maya Beach, I believe it was Barcelo Maya Beach Resort. Beautiful place. You walk in, amazing. We spend the next 4 days lying in the sun, drinking beer, enjoying the scenery, swimming in the ocean. The kids are having a great time. Everybody's happy. Couldn't go, any better. We returned the one evening back to the room to find a letter from the manager of the resort. This letter states the fact that Conquest Vacation, who we had booked our trip through, had now closed the doors. Must go downstairs and meet with the manager to square up the bill for our vacation. So I end up going down there talking to the manager, and suddenly I owe $3,500 in order to continue our fabulous vacation. So this creates another scenario. Now I'm, back and forth to the bank machine every day to withdraw my money to place it on this outstanding bill we have. Of course, I did not have my credit card with me. Did not need one. I was a big believer in cash only. If you can't afford it with cash, don't pay for it. So from here, the next 4 nights, that is how my vacation was spent. Rather than enjoying the sun, laying on the beach, drinking beer, I'm now worried about getting this money to the resort to pay for the situation we are put in. After this, we get back home, we get to back to Alberta here, and of course we're in the fight to try and regain our money through insurance. Various phone calls, non-stop faxes. You guys probably can all picture this by now. And eventually we got a check back because the travel agency did have insurance for us. So we got a check back 9 months after the fact, and a million phone calls, a million faxes later. So what I take home out of this and how I answer my question is, can credit cards be beneficial? What I learned is my next trip, I will definitely book with a credit card because the credit card companies offer the insurance for the purchases made. like I said, I paid cash originally thinking I'm good to go. I now know better for my next trip. I will have it all on the credit card. Thank you.
We want to thank Wes for the ins and outs of the credit card and for his experience of using them. Thanks, Wes.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, the summer's coming, and it may be time to start to think about camping. And which is the better guys to talk about camping? A guy who is from northern BC, the capital of camping around the world.
Thanks, buddy. That's funny. Thanks, big guy. Frenchie. Actually, coming down here, I went in and bought a few magazines because I was jumping on the plane in Fort St. John. I bought a few snowmobile magazines, and I bought a Reader's Digest because it had actually a catchy deal on the front there. Not that I ever buy a Reader's Digest. Started reading the story that was in there on the plane. It was 10 pages long. Kind of caught my eye. It's vanished. Start reading it. There's a campsite where these people had their 2-year-old grandson camping for the weekend, and they were going to celebrate the third birthday on the Sunday. What happens in this whole deal here is on Sunday morning, the little gaffer was camping with Grandma and Grandpa in the camper. He got up early in the morning, undid the latch, and got out. He ends up going and getting into a plastic little car that's motorized, cruising around the campsite, probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. Grandma and Grandpa wake up and they go outside thinking that the little guy's gone to see his mom and dad in the tent. They get up and they're like, where's Peanut is his nickname. They go, well, we thought you had him. So the whole campsite actually, after about an hour of searching for this little guy, wakes up. They end up finding out that they go through every campsite, they're knocking on doors and everything, end up over into one area where they wake up some guys that are riverboaters because they're camping on a river. So these 5 guys end up going and looking around, jumping in the boat, try and figure out from the time that they figure that the little fella got out to how far down the river the body or the boy could possibly be, because they can't figure anywhere else that the little guy could have went. So these guys get in this boat and they take off and they go cruising down. They find the little guy in this plastic car, upside down, kneeling in the water up to here, holding onto the front axle. 12 kilometers down a raging river right in the spring. So they end up actually rescuing this little fella and bringing him back. And they end up having the birthday party that afternoon with the grandparents, great-grandparents, and the whole 9 yards. So it ends up being astonishing that this 2-year-old boy actually made it 12 kilometers down a raging river. The best part about the story, I was one of them 5 guys that actually found the little guy. And we're in here. So I'll actually pass it around. We get a chance, kind of a neat little thing. But that's the picture of the 5 of us right there. That's my story.
Thank you, Doug. That was an amazing story. I want to shake your hand. I never met a real hero before.
There you go. Thanks.